She is Kitty Worthman. She is a woman who is 83 years old. She was 12 years old when Adolf Hitler was elected Führer in Austria, and she says, well, there's some remarkable similarities between what she lived through and what she's living through now, and what the attempt is to move our country into a socialist country. We welcome you to Faith to Action, Kitty.
Thank you very much.
Give us the inside scoop. A lot of people have ideas of what a more socialist country would look like, and after all, health care, let's give it free, and let's have the government control the banks. And you've lived there. You've actually are one of the few people who can say, been there, done that. Tell us what it was like.
I lived under Hitler's brutal regime for 7 years. In my wildest dreams, I would never have imagined that in this great country I would have to fight the same battle all over again. It's a parallel. We elected, and I say elected, Hitler for 98% of the vote by means of the ballot box. How did that happen, that in a Christian nation like Austria, that you would elect a monster like Hitler? The truth is that Hitler talked like an American politician. My country was in a deep depression. We had 1/3 of our workforce unemployed. We had inflation about 25%. And if you borrowed money from the bank, you paid 25% interest. Farmers and businesses went bankrupt daily. And people would go begging from house to house for a bowl of soup and a slice of bread. There was no work, no money. Union called for strikes, and we had almost anarchy in our big cities because the two political factions were fighting each other. On one side, the National Socialist Party, Hitler's party. Listen carefully when I pronounce it. Nationalsozialismus. That was Hitler's party. And National, that is where the word Nazi derived. So the two political parties were fighting each other, and we were begging our government to do something and have an election, a plebiscite. And sure, we had an election, and we voted for Hitler by 98% of the vote.
I want to interject here because, Kitty, there's some folks who are they're going to be sending me emails. I'm not saying anyone is Hitler. Or I'm not saying anything. I'm just letting you say what you want to say because you were there and you have something to say. And I think that there's some things we can learn from you. So go ahead, continue.
So things happened overnight. We got free radios, and the radio station were immediately nationalized. No competition. The government run the radio station. And they could tell us whatever they want to. The other thing, what I quickly noticed, I went to public school. We had prayer in school. We had twice a week religious education. That all changed. The morning I walked into my classroom, the crucifix was gone, and there was Hitler's picture with the Nazi flag on both sides. And our teacher told us, today we do not pray anymore. We will sing the German anthem, Deutschland, Deutschland über alles. And we wouldn't have religious education anymore either. We would have physical education instead. And on Sunday, there would be National Youth Day, and it would be compulsory. And she warned us that if our parents would not send us, they would get first time a stiff letter of warning. The second time we didn't show up, our parents would be fined on the equivalent of $300. And the third time we didn't show up, they would be jailed. So we dutifully attended. In the first 2 hours, we had political education. Today, I would call it political indoctrination. Oh, we were told that we only should listen to Hitler. We were the future of the country, and Hitler would just give us all the rights and liberty what we didn't have from our parents. And our parents were old fogies, old-fashioned, and we should never listen to them again. Only listen to Hitler. Literally, they put a wedge between us and our parents. Within a week, we were greeting everybody with Heil Hitler, and we were so enthused. And the rest of the Sunday, we had sports. We got all the free equipment. Oh, and we had so much fun, so much fun. It was much more fun than going to church. So we argued with our parents all the time. And we were very defiant. So when the next school term rolled around, my mother announced that she was taking me out of this horrible public school, and she was going to put me in the private school, where I would have an excellent curriculum, but no fun. Sure enough, she packed me off, and as I bid her goodbye at that gate, and was that high wall around the school and a locked iron gate, and when I said goodbye to my mother, I almost hated her. But she said, sometime when you come to your senses and you grow up, you will thank me. Today, I thanked her 100,000 times over that she saved me from this godless humanism which took place in our schools.
Well, let me just interject here. As you've pointed out to me, you see some similarities. Certainly, we've censored and sanitized Christianity from our government schools. That happened decades ago. But there are some similarities, and I wanted you to be able to point them out because you see a stark resemblance to what you've lived through. Tell us what that is.
Well, what I first noticed that the prayer is forbidden in public school, and I also noticed, and especially now, that President Obama wants to talk to the school children. Now, it's all right to talk about education, but we don't know what else he's going to talk to them about.
Well, you'll remember when he first announced it that there was going to be a corresponding essay assignment for how students could help him achieve his political goals. And when American people got wind of it, when parents found out, that assignment was canceled, and that speech was very much changed, we're told.
Well, people are waking up. They're realizing that something very evil is going on. And they're not buying into it. And I see that at the tea parties when I speak, people are scared and people are worried what is happening in this country. And then, of course, the other thing what I noticed, the nationalizing of the banks. And that's exactly what Hitler did. Many banks, of course, in Austria were owned by Jewish families. And what he did, he looted their banks and nationalized all the banks. And also what I noticed that in Austria we had a little car manufacturing company called the Steyerwerke. That was immediately nationalized and it was turned into a defense industry.
So he took over the banks and he took over the auto industry.
Yes.
And that sounds familiar. There was compulsory youth service, you mentioned, the indoctrination that took place. Well, of course, this administration has called for mandatory volunteerism of America's youth.